Hey everyone, and welcome back to Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And in this video, we're going to take a look at, of course, a 1982 horror movie that I do not have the physical media for. It's a movie that I streamed on YouTube, actually. But does have a well-known director, and that's Lucio Fulci. And the movie I'm talking about is Manhattan Baby from 1982, an Italian horror film. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Manhattan Baby. So Manhattan Baby is a 1982 Italian horror film directed by Lucio Fulci and starring Christopher Conley as Carlo D'Amico. The film begins in Egypt, where Susie, the daughter of archaeologist George Hacker, is given a mysterious talisman by an old woman. Meanwhile, her father investigates a tomb and is blinded by a blue light. George and Susie return to New York, where George gradually recovers his vision. Strange deaths begin to occur around the hackers, seemingly caused by the amulet. So on holiday in Egypt with her archaeologist father George, with her archaeologist father George and journalist mother Emily, 9-year-old Susie Hacker is approached by a mysterious blind woman who gives her an amulet. Soon after, George becomes blind when he enters a previously unexplored tomb. His vision returns, however, upon returning to New York City. Susie, her younger brother, Tommy, and their au pair, Jamie Lee, are affected by the amulet, gaining supernatural access to dimensional doorways. When George's eyesight returns, he describes the design on the wall of the tomb he'd entered to a colleague named Weiler. At her office, Emily and a colleague, Luke, are working on an article about the events in Egypt when a panicked Jamie Lee phones to say the children are locked in their bedroom. Emily and Luke arrive at the house, but when Luke tries to unlock the door, he is sucked into a dimensional portal. Appearing amidst a vast, arid Egyptian desert where he later dies of dehydration. The hackers treat Luke's disappearance as a practical joke. So yeah, that's to set up the premise. Let me see if I can fix the lighting there a little. It's kind of dark. I'm filming this at night for a change. As far as the cast for this movie, we have Christopher Conley as Professor George Hacker, Laura Lenzi as Emily Hacker, credited as Martha Taylor, Giovanni Frezza as Tommy Hacker, Brigida Boccoli as Susan Hacker, Cinzia De Ponte as Jamie Lee, Cosimo Cineri as Adrian Mercado, credited as Lawrence Wells. So, yeah, I gotta love those Italian names. You know, I butcher those with the best of them. Anyway, that's to set up the premise and the cast for the 1982 Italian horror film directed by Lucio Fulci, Manhattan Baby. Definitely not one of Fulci's better movies. Obviously, when you're comparing it to something like Zombie and City of the Living Dead and even From Beyond, which I really like. This one's not quite on that level, but I didn't hate it. I mean, I could kind of see what he was trying to do with this movie, but I think there's reasons that it didn't get there that we'll get into it. But first, let's go ahead and start with the things that I liked about the movie. The music. The music it's that typical giallo Italian kind of loud rock music that really works for me. It really keeps me in tune to a movie, which was important in this case because there's a lot of scenes in this movie where not a lot really happens, and so if you don't have the music, you might be able to fall asleep. I'm not sure, but the music is very effective. Like I said, that typical rock music that a lot of giallo Italian horror movies use during this time, and I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy it here in this movie. The movie, of course, does the eye focuses on all every character in the movie, I think, has a close-up of their eye at one time or another. Of course, you have the main character that Christopher Conley plays, who goes blind, so he's got his eyes. You got the old woman in Egypt. Her eyes are are gone, basically. They're like whited out, really creepy looking. You've got a guy at the beginning in Egypt that they fall down like a trap door, and he falls onto a bed of spikes and right through the eyes. And then you've got just focusing on the eyes of all the other characters, like the kids and the mother, and Mercado, this character that we see more at the end. So Fulci and his eye focusing is definitely in this movie, but it's effective, and I think it's creepy at times. Especially the old woman in Egypt is creepy, both at the beginning and the very end of the movie, and also Mercado. Some of the focus on his eyes towards the end of the movie because of what's going on is effectively creepy as well. So that's something that worked for me pretty well. Well, it's not an overly bloody or gory movie, especially by Fulci standards. There are a couple of decent gore scenes. The one that really stands out is at the end, having to do with birds, let's just put it that way. But it does kind of focus on some bloody and gory moments of a particular character. So that was, that was kind of interesting to see. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Those are the only pros that I wrote down, but I'm trying to think as I go through the movie in my mind if there's anything else I want to bring up here. I do, it's a fairly well directed movie. I didn't hate the characters or anything. Um, the family of four here, and this au pair, who's kind of like a nanny, I guess. I thought they were fine. There was some. You had there's a little bit of sympathy for some of the characters there with what was going on and stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have any other pros, frankly. Um, I mean, it looks good. There's some nice set pieces, especially the Egypt scenes um, at the beginning and then at the very end. New York City, it's New York City. But it's not a badly shot film. Fulci knows what he's doing there in the directing chair. So let's go ahead and get into the things that I didn't like about it, or that I think make the movie a little bit lesser. The story, while being straightforward, is kind of a jumbled mess, frankly. That doesn't really go anywhere. Things just kind of happen, scenes just kind of happen, but you don't have a strong connecting through line. And you've heard me say that when I reviewed other movies. When I say a through line, I kind of mean something where it kind of like flows. It's kind of like unwinding or unwrapping like a ball of yarn or something, where it just kind of naturally flows. This movie doesn't really naturally flows. It just kind of, this happens and then this happens, and we don't necessarily know why this happens, and there's some things that are not connected, and just the whole line is much more like this, and therefore I don't think the movie is quite as effective as it could have been. Now, could that be a result of? I give this movie a little. I'm a little easier on it too, because I found out, having done research on it, that this movie was going to have a much bigger budget, and it basically got cut in half by the studio. And so that when this movie came out, even Fulci said he didn't like it, that he hated the movie because it wasn't the movie he wanted to make. He only had half the budget that he originally planned on having, and so, um, you know, the story just doesn't come through as well. Could some of that be related to the budget being half? Probably. So yeah, so that's, I could kind of understand that too. You can really feel and on that point, you can really feel the movie's restraints with the low budget. You can kind of see where Fulci's trying to go with it. He's trying to go bigger. He's trying to go grander. I think it's like some of the. I'm just kind of guessing here. I didn't research this, but I'm guessing like some of the when the kids go on their journeys, if you will, as the young boy calls them. Um, the au pair hasn't come back from her journey yet. I think Fulci probably wanted to show more of what was going on there, more of like a dreamlike sequences going on outside of the apartment that they're living in, or the house that they're living in, and that's probably where the budget really came into effect and kind of messed up his vision there, I'm guessing. But I could see where he was trying to go with the set pieces and the story and everything, but it just doesn't quite get there. And again, a lot of it could be because of the budget, but either way, it just doesn't quite get to where he's trying to go with it. And that's probably why he didn't like it. The acting is very wooden in this movie, and I think the dubbing is typically bad, as we often get with these Italian giallo films, where I would rather them just have it, just have it in the language that it was shot and then put some subtitles on the screen. Of course, it's easy for me to say that because I can't hear very well. I'm in the process of getting a second hearing aid to go with my first hearing aid, so maybe I'll actually be able to hear something when people ask me something. But yeah, the dubbing's just so bad, man. And this movie does have the same kid, and I knew I'd seen him before, but the same kid uh, Giovanni Frezza, Tommy Hacker in this movie. He's the same kid that was in House by the Cemetery. Now, I didn't hate him as much in this movie as I did in that movie. I wasn't as annoyed by him. But still, it's the same kid and the dubbing's just as bad. But I don't know. I just maybe he blends into the movie a little bit more. He's not quite as of a main character in this movie as he was in that one. So maybe that's why. Um, let's see. The ending of the movie just kind of ended without having any real excitement or a satisfying climax, given some of the build-up that we get in the movie. Now, I'm not going to say that it's a great build-up all the way through, because like I said, it's a lot of scenes of things just kind of happening that aren't necessarily earned or don't make a lot of sense. But given that you could put some of it together, when the end happens, you see some blue lights and some effects. And then basically Mercado is all relaxed, talking to the dad and saying, "You don't have anything to worry about. It's over for you. I took it on," or something like that. It's like I didn't really see anything play out though that made me believe that. You didn't get like the transference of energy. At least I didn't see that. But again, the budget. It probably would have been spectacular had Fulci gotten his budget. So I am being a little easier on this movie because of when I read that, it kind of made sense to me. I think Fulci had some really good ideas and a vision here that unfortunately weren't executed or able to come to screen because of that. I mean, when you have a budget that's completely cut in half, that's huge. I mean, that's like half the movie, and that's probably what this movie is half the movie that he wanted. So anyway. Excuse me. With that being said, I'm going to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. I've seen a lot worse. I've certainly seen better for Fulci, the ones that I mentioned earlier. But I don't hate this movie. I could see myself watching it again for sure. Am I going to buy it on physical media? Not in a rush. I mean, maybe at some point if I find it for less than $10 or something, like a bargain or something like that, I would pick it up and have it in my collection. But for right now, you can stream it a couple different places, including YouTube, so I'm good with that. So 6.5 out of 10 for Manhattan Baby from 1982, the Lucio Fulci film. Please comment down below if you guys have seen Manhattan Baby, what you think of it. Do you like it more or less? Comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and please subscribe to my channel if you can. It would really help me out for the future of my channel and the content that I can provide. With that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the overall series. But as always, you know what, stay scared. Bye.